Funny thing though, the actual Venezuelan people, the ones who lived under Maduro's boot, a whole lot of them are celebrating. But you, sitting on your couch eating your DoorDash, are pissed off. Of course you are. Last week I was mad at Nick Shirley for helping expose corruption that you should have been screaming about for years. This week, you're mad about an administration that doesn't even govern you and was just uprooted. You just rotate outrage like it's a subscription service. Let's get something straight before the misinformation crowd starts foaming. Maduro has been formally indicted by the United States for narco-terrorism and drug trafficking. That's public record. Senior Venezuelan officials tied directly to cocaine trafficking. Also public record. This is not conspiracy. It's court filings. And this fake-ass constitutional outrage, Barack Obama authorized a drone strike that killed a fucking U.S. citizen. Without a trial, without charges, without Congress voting on it. That's documented fact. So if Obama can vaporize a U.S. citizen, Trump can capture a foreign national already under indictment. Pick a standard or admit you don't have one. You weren't screaming war crimes in. You weren't crying about democracy. You just suddenly found morals when the wrong name signed the order. And the irony, some folks talking about hypocrisy in foreign policy have no issue with sketchy local politicians taking bribes, inflation crushing everyday life, or statewide corruption going unpunished, but suddenly have thoughts about international military ops. Come on. Put that same energy towards your own local officials taking bribes. Judges letting tax evaders walk, city councils misallocating funds, state leaders screwing up schools and infrastructure. But no, we'd rather debate cartoons online. Some of y'all act like every fucking country is supposed to be a good guy, except the one the U.S. just blew up in the middle of a real military operation.
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys pulling up today, man. The brother Cook to help get the show kicked off today. We got so much to get into. We're starting with Jasmine Crockett because she said something extremely outlandish on The View. Hit the like button, share the video.
The press conference that he held, he didn't talk about democracy. Now, I know there are a lot of people that are talking about this is good for the Venezuelan people because Maduro was a bad guy, but that's not why he did it. He has not cared about Venezuelans at all. Let me be clear about that part.
That's true.
Whether he cares or not, the goal is America first, and that's what this is about. So she's on to something here.
The receipts. The Enemy Aliens Act, which most of us had never heard of because it's from the 1700s, he invoked it specifically because of Venezuelans. He said, we are being attacked and invaded by Venezuelans. That was number one.
8 million people fled Venezuela, and a lot of them came here to the United States.
Then the next thing that you know, CCOT, that's where he was sending Venezuelans. Remember the 60-minute episode?
Yeah, the gang members, those that were members of Tren de Aragua. We all remember that.
That they did not want to air about how they were treating them, mistreating them at CCOT. That's where he sent Venezuelans. Then after that, he was illegally killing folk, saying that, oh, well, they're bringing drugs because it was supposedly about fentanyl, which is not where we get fentanyl,
No, it isn't.
to be clear. So then he killed over 100 people with these bombs that he was dropping. And then when he went in to get Maduro, he killed even more Venezuelans. This ain't about Venezuelans. I get that there are people that don't like the leader, but guess what? There are a lot of people that don't like our leader. And regardless, somebody coming into the United States and grabbing our leader in the middle of the night and killing people in this country, I'm sure everybody would be outraged at them doing it that way.
Yes.
It's the way that it's done.
But nobody stops
It's the way
him,
that it was
Jasmine.
done.
Nobody stops him.
I'm trying.
What? So what would be the solution? Would the solution be, hey, Mr. Maduro, would you please come over to the United States so we can formally arrest you because we know you've been indicted? Huh? What the heck is wrong with these people, man? It's the way it was done. Really? There's no soft way to do what was done. There's no soft way to do what was done. And she neglected to speak on the fact that there are people that are ecstatic as to what happened. And there's a lot of people that were kicked out of Venezuela. There's a lot of people that want to go back. And this is going to give them an opportunity to go back to their nation. But she is right about one thing. It really wasn't about the Venezuelan people, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, I want to share a video of a Venezuelan citizen who's ecstatic as to what happened over the weekend.
We're so happy because we've been in jail for so many years. We've been in this country, my country in Venezuela, can you imagine, there's no food, he control everything. We be controlled by these people. Not only him, Diosdado Cabello, and everybody is around him. We cry because now somebody do something. This president is the first president. They do something. We don't know what is going to happen, but at least this is the first step. It's hope for every Venezuelan. This is a hope.
Yeah. These people see hope. And although what was done had not a whole lot to do with what the people of Venezuela wanted, the effect of what happened is huge for the people of Venezuela. You guys got to understand, Venezuela in 1992 was the third richest nation in the hemisphere. Seriously, it was the third richest nation. You got to understand what type of natural resources this country is sitting on. And all of that came to a halt less than 20 years ago. They voted in a socialist president in 2001. The platform that this individual ran on, Hugo Chavez, was income inequality and wealth distribution. They privatized the healthcare system shortly afterward. Quote unquote, higher education became free. And in 2009, they banned guns. And from that point forward, it got crazy. It got crazy after that. And in less than a generation, they went from extremely wealthy to food and healthcare shortages becoming widespread. And then it led to 8 million people or more fleeing, thousands of political prisoners in prison. This Maduro character, the people that were guarding him, they wasn't even Venezuelans, they were Cubans. This dude's a puppet for Cuba. He was a puppet for China and Iran and Russia. Jasmine Crockett, for a person that is running for Senate and for a person that is a sitting member of the House, you know what I'm saying, of Representatives, not a very intelligent person. Or she's gaslighting the heck out of everybody. But I want you guys to hear from Glenn Beck. He breaks it down, and we're going to get deeper into it here in a second.
Okay, so I want to go over, I put a chalkboard up, and if you're watching us at glennbeck.com, you'll see Venezuela, China, Iran, they're all connected. All of these things are connected. And if somebody tells you this is all about the oil, listen to them, because it is, but I don't know if they understand what they're even saying about that, and I'll explain in a second. If they're saying, well, this is about drugs, okay, this is about terror, this is about the hemisphere, this is about the U.S. military and the war machine. Yes, to all of those things. So let me pull them apart. First of all, right now, Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, 303 billion barrels. That's $17+ trillion at the current market value. They also claim about 8,000 to 10,000 tons of gold that is still in ground. Okay. Now, here's the part you're not being told. With all of that oil, we don't need the oil. Have you noticed the gas prices? They keep coming down. Yep. We don't need the oil. We need to pull the oil out of the ground ourselves, which we are. We need to refine it ourselves, which we are. China needs the oil. China buys 60 to 90% of all of Venezuela's crude exports.
How many of you guys knew that? How many of you guys knew that in the comment section?
China also buys 85 to 90% of all of the oil from Iran. China also buys nearly half of all Russian oil. What's happening right now? Well, 60 to 90% of all of the exports from Venezuela now not going to China.
Yep.
How is China going to be able to power all of their electricity needs? How are they going to do that if they don't get oil from Venezuela? Oh, and what else has been destabilized this weekend? Iran. They buy 85 to 90% of all of the oil in Iran, and those are huge oil reserves as well. So when people say this isn't about oil, or this is about oil, the argument goes back and forth. No, it's not about oil. We don't need it. No, it absolutely is about oil.
It's about oil, but it's not about oil for us. It's about oil to keep our adversary from reaping the benefits of resources in our hemisphere. We're going to get into that here in a quick second. I want you guys to hear Marco Rubio, though.
If the purpose of the operation was to capture Maduro and bring him to justice, why does the United States need to take over the Venezuelan oil industry?
Well, we don't need to. First of all, let me go back up. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We have plenty of oil in the United States. What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States. You have to understand, why does China need their oil? Why does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil? They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States.
Have specific oil companies?
We also want to see that oil and the proceeds from it. Hold on. We want to see the oil proceeds of that country benefit the people of Venezuela. Why have 8 million people left Venezuela? 8 million, the single largest mass migration probably in modern history, left Venezuela since 2014 because all the wealth of that country was stolen to the benefit of Maduro and his cronies in the regime, but not to the benefit of people of Venezuela. You know how destabilizing 8 million migrants?
There you have it right there. But have you guys heard of the Monroe Doctrine? And if you haven't, I suggest you go and look it up. It was declared in 1823 by President James Monroe. The premise of this, and it's really simple, and we're going to get into the next clip here in a quick second, but the premise is this. No foreign powers. At the time, it was really, they were talking about Europe. It was talking about the European nations, but no foreign powers should interfere in the affairs of the Western Hemisphere. None. So no, China, you can't have a foothold over here. No, Russia, you can't have a stake over here. No, Iran, you can't set up shop and do business over here. No. The Monroe Doctrine explicitly states that the U.S. would view such interference as hostile and as a hostile. The previous administration showed itself as weak on the world stage, and China was taking advantage of it. These BRICS nations, that BRICS idea started to really get some legs during the previous administration because we had weak leadership. Nobody believed in us. Now we have a president who is showcasing himself as strong and willing to use the strength, power, and might of the United States of America to make sure that we maintain our way of life here. We have to maintain that the Western Hemisphere is protected. No one else can come over here and act like they're going to do anything. No.
Have you ever seen this map? Because if not, it's definitely time that you do. It's a map based off of the Monroe Doctrine that was introduced by President James Monroe in 1823. And basically, it says that the Western Hemisphere belongs to the Americas and that no foreign power should have any control over it. Back in the day, it was referring to Europe, but today it applies to China and Russia. That's why when Marco Rubio was being interviewed about why the United States captured Maduro and Venezuela, he said it had nothing to do with oil at all, but actually had to do with...
China need their oil. Why does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil? They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States.
The Monroe Doctrine that President Trump has been referencing refers to the United States controlling the Western Hemisphere, which includes Greenland, Cuba, Colombia, Venezuela, which is why you've heard about us getting involved in those countries lately. It's about energy dominance, oil, gas, lithium, rare earths in the Americas must not fall under hostile control. Financial power, making sure that the dollar system remains dominant in this hemisphere. Military exclusion. You just heard Marco Rubio saying this. No rival power gets permanent bases near U.S. territory, and information and tech control. Telecom, satellites, AI, and surveillance matter as much as tanks. If a new world order is happening right now, many people believe it'll end up looking something like this. After all, yesterday, President Trump did say,
peace on earth. Peace on earth. We gotta have peace. It's our hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine was very important when it was done, and other presidents, a lot of them, they lost sight of it. I didn't lose sight, but it really is, it's peace on earth.
I think it's safe to say that this is something we should all be paying attention to and not just some crazy conspiracy theory.
I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts? Why do liberals hate our nation so much? I understand most of them suffer from a wicked case of Trump derangement syndrome, and most of them have no earthly idea what's actually going on. And we understand that the president is playing chess, not checkers. But the goal is to make sure that he fortifies our nation, make sure that our people get put first, and make sure that our nation is safe from foreign adversaries. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it. And this brother right here caps it off for us.
Uncle Donnie is a bad... Uncle Donnie is a bad boy. I got chills, man, looking at the videos of people in Venezuela and how happy they are, man. Man, Uncle Donnie is bringing peace and happiness all over the world.
And he's still being hated for it. That right there in itself should let you know everything that you need to know about these people. Anybody that is against us maintaining and protecting our hemisphere, where we live at, against adversaries, other superpowers around the world. Anybody that's upset with that, you got to give them the side eye. And you have to ask them, whose side are you on? For real. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family, or you can buy your brother a coffee. Link in the description box below. I appreciate the love, support. Join us Tuesday and Friday for ARP in the morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you guys. God bless. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibe so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.